Peace. I'm Rami Salam El, and I thank you for joining us. All right, RZA. A lot of people are commenting about this brother and his comments regarding more so-called black people and how we should be properly dressed, to avoid being harassed or being attacked or brutalized by police. And a lot of people are framing it a certain way. Let me get a couple quotes here. From thegrio.com, the title of the article, RZA says all lives matter. Black men brutalized by police should be properly dressed. Hip Hop DX, RZA thinks black youth should stop scaring cops. TheSource.com, RZA says black people should stop scaring white cops. And a lot of people are framing it along those lines. And they are making it appear or seem as though RZA is saying, if we want to stop police brutality, then we need to change how we dress. Or if we change the way we dress, then we will not be brutalized or murdered or attacked by, these crooked cops and these corrupt police. But is that what he said? Do you know what he said? Did you listen to the interview, the full interview, to get the full context of what's being said? Well, before I make my comments, let's listen and look and see exactly what RZA said in complete context and pay attention to everything that he says. Listen closely.
So you come into this place, you're 7 years into the Obama administration, one of the main, in the last year at least, one of the most, the political movements that's had the most energy around it has been Black Lives Matter, right?
Yes.
Because of all the stuff that's happened in
Yes.
a lot of cities around the country with police brutality and wrongful deaths and so on. When you see that movement kind of taking shape, what do you think of that when you see Black Lives Matter?
Of course Black lives matter. You know what I mean? All lives matter. I stop eating meat because their life matter to me. You know what I mean? I don't think it's necessary for us to grow a cow to kill it. I don't think it's necessary for, if I'm in law enforcement, and look, I wanted to be in law enforcement as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, come on, man. Berettas? I grew up with Beretta, Starsky, and Hutch.
Yeah.
Come on, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you like Starsky or Hutch? Which one do you like better?
Depending on what episode.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But I was just saying, you wanted to be these guys, you know what I mean? And now to come when you grow up and you see what's happening, the image of that is being taken away. You know, in the old days, you're a cop, you let him in your house and give him a cookie and milk. Now you're like, yo, you know. So all lives matter. And I love what the police do for our society. I love the idea of it, to serve and protect. And as long as those who are upholding that idea, then they are beneficiary to society. But for those who would ever lose that focus, you know what I mean? Whether they lose it through fear, through stress, or through not being properly trained, and they are allowed to go in the streets and how can you enforce law if you don't understand law? Right. But when you think about, some of the brothers who are being brutalized by the police, you know what I mean? You also got to have them take a look in the mirror at the image we portray. Yeah. If you think, if I'm a cop and every time I see a young black youth, whether I watch them on TV, movies, or just see them hanging out and they're not looking, properly dressed, properly refined, carrying themselves, conducting themselves the proper hours of the day, things that a man does, you know what I mean? You're going to have a certain kind of fear and stereotype of them. And that's, I tell my sons, I like, I say, if you're going somewhere, you don't have to wear a hoodie, and we live in New York, so hoodies and all that is all good. But sometimes, button up your shirt, clean up, look like a young man. You're not a little kid, you know what I mean? So I think that's another big issue we gotta pay attention to is the image that we portray that could invoke a fear to a white officer or to any officer.
I saw you get quoted the other day.
All right. Now we've heard the full context the interview and the full context of what RZA was saying. And if you noticed, first of all, and this is coming from Moor, so you know I don't necessarily agree with calling our people black, but the first thing he said was all Black Lives Matter. First thing he said, right off the top. Then he said all lives matter. And you see then some people were framing that to get a rise out of people as if he was going against Black Lives Matter. But that's not what he was doing. Clearly he put Black Lives Matter first. But he wasn't even, and when he said all lives matter, he wasn't even just talking about human beings. As you see, he was talking about animals. Yeah, it gets a little deeper. You got to stop getting emotional, people. Yes, I'm talking to you, so-called black people. That always get emotional, always want to jump up and get outraged about something, and don't take a step back and listen objectively. We need to use less emotion and more logic and reason. And if you go a little further in the interview, you'll listen, if you listen close, he said the conduct as well as the appearance, the conduct of our people. That means our behavior, how we act. So not just how we dress, but how we act. Understand? Were you listening to that? Did you catch that? Did you know that's what he said? Or were you just believing the short titles that people were giving this interview and framing it as if he was just saying we need to change the way we dress? And on that matter of the way we dress, he said sometimes. He didn't say we need to change how we dress all of the time. He didn't say we always need to be in a button-up and khakis and some dress shoes. He didn't say that. He said sometimes. And he said look like a young man. You're not a little kid. So he's not speaking to little children. Kid obviously is, you don't really like to use kid because kid actually is baby goat. So little children. You're not a little child. So he's speaking to the young men and young women as well. But we're going to get to that in a little bit. What was it? Oh, and the last thing, he said the image that we portray that could invoke a fear. Could, not will. Not if we're wearing a hoodie, it will invoke fear, but it could invoke fear based on stereotypes. Did he say that the stereotypes were justified and it was right that we're being stereotyped? No, but it's a reality. And for all these people that are trying to get outraged about this, if you're not accepting the reality of the matter, that there are stereotypes about our people and how we look and how we are perceived based on our appearance, if you can't accept the truth of that, then you're just foolish. And I've been seeing, I'm going to use one person specifically because I feel like he represents a lot of the ignorant mentality, the ignorant mindset of our people. And that would be Charlamagne the God. So we're going to listen to a small clip of him and DJ Envy and Angela Yee on the Breakfast Club as they were speaking about this. So we'll go to that. Then we're going to come back. We're going to read something real quick.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Now, we're talking about some comments that RZA made. He was talking about police brutality. He was on the Bloomberg Report, and this is what he had to say.
Us take a look in the mirror at the image we portray. If I'm a cop, and every time I see a young black youth, whether I watch them on TV, movies, or they're not looking properly dressed, properly refined, conducting themselves the proper hours of the day, things that a man does, you're going to have a certain kind of fear and stereotype of them. And that's, I tell my sons, I say, if you're going somewhere, you don't have to wear a hoodie and button up your shirt, clean up. Look like a young man. You're not a little kid. The image that we portray that could invoke a fear to a white officer or to any officer.
All right. 800-585-1051.
And shout out to Mickey on Twitter. She said it doesn't matter how we dress, our skin is what they're afraid of. The James Blake incident is the perfect example.
That's a fact. I mean, we should clean up, but not to make white people feel comfortable. We should clean up because we all grown ass men with
and not
family.
to make police officers not have fear in them.
And the thing is, like the young lady just said, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing because it's not the clothes you fear, it's the color of my skin. And the only problem I have with RZA's comments is RZA is speaking like he's never been the guy he's talking about. Wu-Tang used to wear stocking masks. They used to walk around with big ass swords,
big ass hoods,
baggy ass clothes.
Jackets.
Go pull up any Wu-Tang promo pic. I guarantee you would have called the police on every single one of those guys if you live in a nice neighborhood and you saw them standing outside.
But it shouldn't be that. You should be able to wear what you want to wear. The youth should be able to express themselves the way they want to express themselves. They'll grow into whatever they want to grow into.
And that's the thing.
They shouldn't have anything against them.
Wu-Tang had the chance to grow and
express
evolve
themselves
into the men that they became. These kids now aren't getting that opportunity. And, we should be able to dress, these kids should be able to dress.
But a lot of people do tell their kids at home.
Absolutely.
Just what RZA told his sons.
First thing that I want you to notice is how they condensed the words that RZA said and took bits and pieces. Understand that. And that's the problem with the media a lot these days. They'll cut and splice up the things that they want to frame it and to fit into the narrative that they would like to push. So always be mindful of that, even if it's coming from people that look like you and talk like you. Yeah, propaganda is real. Secondly, I've heard this, and it was said by one of the callers, I guess, that it doesn't matter what we wear. It's the color of the skin that they're afraid of. I've seen people say, oh, well, Martin and Malcolm, they got killed and they were wearing suits, so it doesn't matter. That's bullshit, okay? Sorry, it's just not real. You know the statistics. You don't even have to have some elaborate study. You know off of common sense that the majority of people being brutalized, being arrested, being assaulted by police are not wearing Tom Ford. They are not suited and booted like they're going for a job interview and getting beat down. It doesn't happen at the same rate as it does to people that have a certain appearance and a certain look and are perceived by the police based on that appearance. But I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want to read something to you. How many times growing up did some adult tell you, pull your pants up so you don't look like a thug? Ladies, how many times growing up did your mom tell you not to put on that short dress or those revealing clothes because it makes you look like a hoe? The reason for that is because they understood perception is everything. Perception shouldn't be reality, but actually it is. People don't know you. They don't know what you're about. They are going to judge you based off what they believe, what they have heard, or what they have encountered previously with those who look like you. Do you know whose words those are? Charlemagne the God. Don't believe me? Look it up. Vibe.com, 2012. The article exclusive, Charlemagne the God gives personal testimony, Trayvon Martin. Okay? So let's cut the bullshit. Let's cut it out. And finally, it shouldn't matter. We can wear whatever we want to wear. I've heard that. Yeah. It is true. It's not illegal to wear hoodies. It's not illegal to wear baggy, saggy jeans and a white tee. It's not illegal for that. No. Nobody is saying that. And you should have the right to wear whatever. You do have the right to wear whatever you want to wear. But does it make sense to do that? Again, using logic and reason. Does it make sense? Well, let's hear from a very wise person. Let's hear his take on wearing what you want to wear and how that may be perceived.
Like a guy be out, just having a lot of guys, you be out at a club, bar, right? You're kicking with your boys, and a girl walks by, and man, she looks good. She looks good. Not good in that classical way. I mean, you know, I'm talking good, like she got half her ass hanging out her skirt. Her titties are all mashed together, popping out the top of her turtleneck and shit. And you with your buddies, right? You with your buddies, you got a couple drinks in you, and you see a girl like this, you might try to talk to her. This might not come out right. I don't know what you say, but damn, look at them titties! Right? The girl gets mad and says, oh, wait a minute. Just because I'm dressed this way does not make me a whore. Which is true. Gentlemen, that is true. Just because they dress a certain way doesn't mean they are a certain way. Don't ever forget it. But ladies, you must understand that that is fucking confusing. Just is. Now that would be like me, Dave Chappelle the comedian, walking around the streets in a cop uniform. Somebody might run up on me. Oh, thank God. Officer, help us. Come on, they're over here. Help us. I'm like, oh, just because I'm dressed this way does not make me a police officer. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, all right, lady, fine. You are not a whore. But you are wearing a whore's uniform, I'll tell you that shit right now.
Peace to Dave Chappelle. Chopping jewels as always. And much love and respect and appreciation to RZA for also dropping jewels and speaking truth and holding the mirror up to our face, you know. Because it's time we make a change, man. It's time we use our minds, you know. Am I saying that it's right, or am I trying to justify, people stereotyping us? No. Am I saying it's right that we have to change the way we dress in order to lessen the harassment and abuse by police? No. I am saying it's logical. I am saying it's a reasonable thing to do, to consider. Not all the time, but sometimes. And let's just use our mind. You know what I mean? Stop being so emotional and just think. Yes, we have the right to wear whatever. But I'm not gonna go into a blood gang neighborhood wearing all blue, dressed head to toe. Do I have the right to wear all blue? Yeah. Is it illegal? No. But does it make sense? Is it the best idea to do? No. Especially considering how I may be perceived by the people of that community. I may be perceived as a threat, perceived as an enemy, and there may be consequences based off of the perception, based off my appearance. The same thing goes with the police. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's, the law or that it's illegal to wear a hoodie. I'm just saying let's be smart and sensible about it. And with that, I wanted to show you, I'm going to close it up with some clips from RZA, because this brother is a real wise man, and I think that you need to pay a little more attention to everything that he is saying, not just this small topic that has been, making its rounds on the internet today. So with that, peace and much love to you. And Islam, the RZA, keep shining. One love. For the Wu.
Really good for art and really good for the Wu fans.
Let me ask you about, let's just shift a little bit and talk about politics here for a second. I know you were very pleased when Barack Obama got elected president, and talked about it as being kind of a fulfillment of the central values of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Do you think now, 7 years in, what do you think about the Obama presidency?
Well, my point of view may be a little different because my struggle is a little different, right? But I still think it's a great thing for our country because sometimes you don't see things in the present. You got to wait till it get a little far away from you, then you look back. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, people talk about, you know, the Bush administration, the Reagan administration, and all these different things, but each one added some kind of value to our American culture and to our position in the world and to our society of how it trickles down to the basic American citizen. So what Barack Obama did, even if all the policies fail, you know what I mean? Before he was president, I traveled the world, and it wasn't even kind of cool to be an American. I've been it. I let people know I'm American. Yeah. I'm not from none of these African countries, and I'm from right here, yo. And it was like people was very snobby against us, you know, because of the way that Mr. Bush was running our country. And now I've traveled the world after Barack Obama, and the president, and it's cool to be American again, baby. You know what I mean? And people don't know how much that means to citizens like us who are in a celebrity position, who represents the country through our culture, through our
You don't support Trump at all, but you like Trump on some level because he's a New Yorker and you're a New Yorker. So, yeah. You know, so is Trump like just a lot of hype, or you think that guy's actually got a chance of being the president of the United States? And what do you think about that he's such a big deal right now?
Well, I mean, look, Trump has always been a smart man. He's always made it from you know, when he had a problem, he came back stronger. You know, I mean, he's a smart dude. Is Mr. Trump good to be the president of the United States? That's an equation you got to measure against other presidents. Does he have all the qualities? Education. You know, one thing about Barack Obama that we all can agree is the man is highly intelligent, great speaker. You know, will I allow Mr. Trump to come run my company? Yes, I would love that, right? Would I support him to run my country? I wouldn't make a sure bet on that because I don't see those qualifications being the same. Unless, let me just say this, unless somebody tell me America is nothing but a big company.
Right. Yeah. That's a theory.
That's a theory, huh?
That's a theory, but you like the way he talks.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to talk about his Rolling Stone 4-star memoir and life manual, The Tao of Vu. Let me hear y'all give it up for the one, the only, the RZA.
Thank you. We'll start like this today. First of all, thank y'all for coming out. I really appreciate it. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. Supreme peace and blessings. This book of wisdom, volume 2 of the Wu-Tang Manual, is a second installment to the Chambers of Ideas of Wu-Tang as told by the Abbot. In divine mathematics, knowledge is 1, the foundation of all things. Wisdom is 2, the manifestation of knowledge. It is knowledge in action. The word manifestation is man speaks his action. Wisdom is the separation that begins life. It is the explosion that created the universe, the division of every cell that multiplies to form a single life. It is the partition that God renders when he says, "Let there be light," separating light from darkness, sky from ocean. It is the detachment of man from his rib to create woman. Wisdom is woman, or symbolic to the woman. It is a womb that man must pass through to become mentally born. Knowledge and wisdom give birth to understanding, just as man and woman give birth to a child. Wisdom is also the word. It is the way to make your knowledge known. In the beginning, it says in the book of John, the word was God, and this word became flesh. God's knowledge was made manifest through words to create life all around us. Wisdom is reflection in time. Knowledge is static and timeless. Wisdom is the moment before the Big Bang. It is the Big Bang, the explosion that brings and borns understanding through the fourth dimension, which is time. Wisdom is like water. It's the flood that drowned the wicked in the time of Noah. The sea that drowned the Pharaoh's army when Moses used it to part the waters. Wisdom is like a universal solvent, into which all things dissolve in time. Peace.
Yeah.
When I first thought of making this book, we thought of this book before we did the Wu-Tang manual. Going through life and going through many struggles in the city of New York and the different projects and ghettos, sometimes life has seemed hopeless. But we was given something called mathematics at a young age. And through mathematics, it led us to respect the Bible, respect the Quran, respect the Bhagavad Gita, and all different forms of wisdom. Sometimes, we find ourselves stuck in traditions, and because of our traditions, we can't relate to each other, or because of our culture. But wisdom, as Solomon would say, it lifts the veil, or the veil of all things. It uncovers things, and it's universal. Krishna, I like to use Krishna a lot because when I was young, I thought Krishna was some kind of weird-looking god, they have a blue picture of him next to a cow, and it always looked like some kind of weird things. You see the people at the airports walking up to you trying to give you a book about Hinduism. You're like, yo, get away from me, get away from me. You know what I mean? But when I finally took the time to read the Bhagavad Gita and read the deep depth of this man's ideas and to find out about his history, it awakened a whole new thing in my mind. And he said in the Bhagavad Gita that the best way to heaven is through wisdom. Spend time amongst the wise. So you'll get to heaven faster than praying, chanting, fasting, and all the different yoga philosophies that they follow, whether it's Hatha yoga, Raja yoga. You know what I mean? He said through wisdom, you'll get there faster. And that inspired me a lot. And it helped inspire this book as well. Taoism, something that I learned and watched in martial art movies. When you see a movie like The Swordsman 2, there's a film called The Swordsman 2. They have a character called Master Asia, who wanted to be such a great martial artist that he cut his own penis off, right? And turned into a woman. But became the greatest martial artist. And that's what they call inner alchemy, as we would say. And as I thought that also to be kind of perverse or kind of weird. But then I started reading books on Taoism, how to cultivate the 5 elements of your body, how to cultivate with your 5 inner organs, how it relates to the 5 constellations and all that. It brought a new wisdom to me. I realized that, when they say Tao is the way, as the Tao Te Ching would say, this way is a path. And I realized that same path that they say is the way is the same way Jesus spoke about. He said, enter ye to the narrow gate. Into that path at a narrow entrance, because wide is the road to destruction. And I'm seeing all these same similarities of all these great teachers speaking on great things, and it just started to radiate to myself that, there's many ways to get to a destination, but the destination is your goal. So whether you travel it through Christianity, through the beautiful words of Jesus Christ, you travel it through the Prophet Muhammad and the beautiful book of the Quran, you travel it through Buddha and his scriptures, whether it's the Heart Sutra, the Diamond Sutra, and the many pinnacles of Buddhism. You travel it through Taoism or Confucianism. You could even pick up a book from Aleister Crowley, write a lot of books on esoteric and ideas. You still find that they all point you to the same destination, which is knowledge of yourself, the true self, and the betterment of humanity. And that's what I stand for, and that's what this book is about. Throughout my book, I use different stories and different things that happened in my life, that some things was very hard for me to put into a book, because, it's embarrassing to think, to talk about being a criminal or being somebody that hurt somebody else before, or carry guns, sell drugs, all these things that, we rap about and sometimes we brag about. I'm actually embarrassed about, because, to hurt somebody else, whether through selling some drugs to make a better game for myself, or to knock a man over his head, or to go to Macy's and steal clothes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's, you're young, you do what you do what you impulsively do. And But what I learned from those bad things and those bad trials and tribulations, that there was a lesson to be taught. In the book, I speak about living in Marcus Garvey projects in Brownsville. I had my sister Sophia here as a witness, and you know, next door to us was a guy named Chili Wop and his family. Coolest guy you ever want to meet. What up, Chili Wop? What up, Rob? Yeah, man. What up, man? You know, he had a cool voice, everything. And my mom hit the number that year, and she had bought my sister her brand new bike, bought us a pinball machine. We had toys. Furniture. Life was like feeling like it's gonna be better for us. We finally moved out my grandmother's house and everything. And we move in, everything is gone. You know what I mean? You know, my mother goes back into depression. My sister don't have a bike. She wanted a bike for like 5 years, though. So now she has no bike. And there's nothing we could do about it, you know, just mope about it. And like a year later, I'm on the stoop with Chili Wop. He's like, yeah, Rob, you're so cool, man. Yeah, man, you know, when y'all first moved in, you know, we robbed y'all house. And, you know, I didn't know y'all was going to be such a cool family, you know what I mean? And there's nothing I could do about that time. He was a big, muscle-bound dude. He had his homeboy Hershey, cool chocolate guy, all the girls loved him and everything. But it still was a lesson to be learned there, which is sometimes friends approach as enemies, and they become friends. And when they become friends, they become that same enemy that was an enemy, become a friend that could help you in your life. We was asked before I came out to talk about the book. I had a friend with me here named Miss Eva Reese, who worked at BMG back in the days, right? And she was the lady that had to wake Wu-Tang Clan up or get us to do things. And everybody, we hate you, Eva, we hate you, ah! And we think about pulling pranks and tricks on her and anything, you know, to get her out of our lives. But it turned out of all the people we did business with, she became the most sincere person, helped Wu-Tang a lot. You know, last 2 years when we was kind of separated, she brought us together for a tour, and she basically had her hair turned gray working with us because it's a hard thing working with Wu-Tang Clan. But it's another case of somebody you look at as an enemy that winds up becoming one of your dearest friends in life, y'all. So you never know where it's going to come from. Keep your eyes open to it, all right? Thank you.